Hi friends, today we have another SD-WAN lab for you. So in this lab, we are going to do hub and spoke. And as you can see the topology here, I have hub site. I have 4 spoke sites. Site 10 is hub, site 11, 15, 15, 55 and 13 are all spoke sites. So we are going to do 2 labs together so that you can see the different methods of implementing the same thing. And you also should be able to see the impact that it has, right? So once we do the lab, the second one, you will be actually able to understand what I'm saying at this time. So this is a hub site, site 10, and these are the spoke sites. So what we'll do is we'll go quickly to vManage and we'll try to create our first policy. I've created the sites. I've created hub site, which is site 10. I'll just show you what is the entry. Site 10. And then spoke site 11, 13, 15, 55, which is a CSR edge router, C edge router. And then I have a VPN with VPN 2000. I can remove 2001 because we are not using that in our topology. And I have a TLOC here, which is a hub TLOC. So first method of doing it is I go to the topology and use the predefined easy method, I will call it. So let's say hub spoke. We'll give it a name and just tell which VPN you want to apply it to. VPN 2000. Okay. Who is your hub site? This is my hub site. And this is my spoke site. Okay. We have to go back to this. Right. This was the topology. I have to edit it because I forgot to do this one. So advertise the TLOC hub. Save the policy. Okay, if something wrong has happened to this, so let's see that. I'll pick up our topology that we just created. This was a topology, right? And now we have to implement it. But before implementation, I want to do something else here. So what I'll do here is we will test our standard topology first. So this is the VPN 2000. We want to apply this policy, save the policy, but we will not activate the policy yet. We want to see the content of it. So this is the policy which clearly says that whenever you see these spoke sites, make sure to set their TLOC to the hub. So that means if they want to reach to each other, they have to go to the hub, right? Or there could be a different definition of it. Once we do the lab, once we activate the policy, we'll see what does this basically mean at this time. So right now it's a hub and spoke, which means the spoke should be able to talk to hub, but spoke should not be able to talk to each other, right? This is what it looks like from the policy at this time. So now let's go back to our hub site. This is our hub device, VH10, and I'll say show BFD sessions. Okay, I can see that I have a IPsec tunnel or TLOCs to all the 4 sites. I'll go to VH11, which is a spoke site, show BFD sessions. I also have connection to each of them. Okay, that's cool. I'll go to 13, show BFD sessions. And he also has connection to all, and this guy also. Site 15. Show BFD sessions. Okay, so we have IPsec tunnel going on between all of them. We have not activated the policy yet, so they can all communicate to each other. That's a default way of communication, right? That in the same VPN, you will be able to talk to each other. That's a default Cisco SD-WAN behavior. So let's see how the policy impacts it. Now I will activate this policy. So I'm activating this policy on vSmart, and then we will see how this policy activates and what are the changes it makes to the topology. Okay, it's a success. So what we'll do is we'll go back to our devices and I will go to the spoke 15. You see that it had 4 connections, 4 BFT sessions, which means a tunnel to everybody, but now only to hub. Okay, now I'll do show IP route. Right, I'm getting all the routes, but through the hub, right? 10, 10, 10 is our hub site. So I'm getting from site 13, I'm getting from site 11, I'm getting from site 15, I'm getting routes from everybody, but my hub, I'm receiving these routes through the hub. Right, let's go to the second site and see that. Site number 13. It also had connections to, direct connection to all the sites, right? All these, but what I'm looking for is now a different output, which is this. Now you see that only one IPsec tunnel is there right now, right? So show BFT sessions again, only one tunnel, and show IP route. We are still able to reach to everybody, all the private networks using hub as a site. So hub is advertising himself as the main site, right? That I'm the hub, and if you want to reach to each other, your TLOC is set to me. You have to pass through me. No spoke to spoke communication at this time. Let's go to site 11 also and do the same command, show BFT session. You see that 4 sites were there. Now only one site is there. All right. So let's see now. Show IP route here. And I have, again, this site is also same. Now what we'll do is, just to re-verify it, I'm going to deactivate this policy again, and we'll see if the standard behavior comes back, which it should. So the policy is getting deactivated. Show IP route. You see that what has happened? All the routes are now coming from their respective spokes, a direct IPsec tunnel. As soon as the policy got deactivated, if I see my BFT sessions also, I will have 4 sessions rather than 1 session. You see that I have a direct IPsec tunnel to all the sites. All the spokes to spoke and spoke to hub, everybody is talking to, all the 4 sites are able to talk to each other. Right? So this is the method number 1 of achieving hub and spoke, but it has its own limitation, which I will discuss at the end of it. But first we'll use the second method, and then we'll also see the output, how the output changes. So in first method, you have to remember it that your IPsec tunnels were reduced to 1. You all have a tunnel only to the hub, right? You do not have an IPsec tunnel to each other in the first method. Now we'll do the second method and we'll see how that works. So this policy, what we need to do is we can go and delete this policy, and I will create another method of doing it. So instead of this time hub and spoke, I will pick up custom route and TLOC policy, and that I'm going to use custom hub TLOC, hub and spoke. So first thing we'll do is we will have this as accept as a default action at the end of our policy, and we'll create our first policy. I'm not creating TLOC policy, I'm creating a route policy that will impact only the routes. Okay, but you will see the difference of what I'm saying, why I'm saying not TLOC and the route only. So let's say we'll match our site is spokes, okay, and VPN is VPN number 2000. This is what we want, and we want to match them to a TLOC, and our TLOC is hub TLOC. So this is second method of doing it. Default action is already accepted, which means any policy after this policy will be accepted. It's just like an ACL. If you put a deny at the end of any ACL and you try putting a new entry after that, it won't work. So let's say save control policy, and then I go back to next, and we have to apply it. So hub spoke custom will have it outbound on the spoke only. Added, save the policy and preview the policy. So you can see that the policy is almost similar. It says this is going to be your hub and everything else is permitted here, right? You will match the site, set the DLOC to this one. Okay. Now we activate this policy. But before I activate it, I just want to show you the output, previous output, right? Previous output is, again, everybody's tunnel came back because I removed the policy. So this is a standard behavior. This is the standard behavior. Now we'll go back and activate this policy. Policy is a success, and I will go back and see show BFD sessions. You see that no change has happened, right? So I will see another thing here. Show IP route. You see that? That's a major change. In the first method of implementation, what has happened is the BFDs or the IPsec tunnels were disconnected. All the spoke to spoke sites, their IPsec tunnels were disconnected. While in the route, in the second method, right, the tunnels are not disconnected, but their TLOCs are changed only for the IP routing. So that is the reason I wanted to put these two labs together to show you the difference. In the first lab, what will happen is you will have a disconnect of all the sites. So those sites will not be able to talk to each other. The spoke sites cannot communicate directly to each other. They have to go through hub. Here also similar stuff, but their tunnels are not broken. For rest of the VPNs, if you have another couple of more VPNs, you still have an IPsec tunnel. So show BFD sessions. Their tunnels are still working, which means if they have any other VPNs or anything else, they will keep on working. Now, the point here is, as we discussed before, what is the difference between both the methods majorly and why is it happening? Okay. So if we go to the first policy here, I'll try to create another policy, hub and spoke. You see this policy here, right? At the end of this policy, there is nothing called default action. Because of that, we are not allowed to have a tunnel to each other, right? There is no policy called default action. There is no possibility of a default accept action, which means whatever is told, strictly you will follow that. So that is a very dangerous situation. Tomorrow you want to apply some more policies, you want to create some more stuff, right? It can create problems for you. So the best method will be to implement it the second way. So both the methods can be used. Now you know the difference, right? What is this method? What changes it brings and what changes the other method brings. So that's all for this video, guys. That was about the Cisco SD-WAN hub and spoke 2 methods. Thank you.